which is the problem. There it is. Oh!
Hello, and welcome back to your favourite combat sports YouTube channel, Marvelous Wrestling. Today's video is a special video as we will be breaking down the full anatomy of Jon Jones like never before. We will cover every topic, starting from his childhood to his career to even his unique physical and mental traits that truly carved him into the monster of a fighter in the octagon that he is today. From his wrestling style, which is far superior to most, to his ironclad mindset and IQ, which allow him to predict his opponent's movements even before they themselves register it in their mind, we will cover it all. But as we go through it, there is one important question that comes to mind, and that is, what truly sets him apart from the thousands of other wrestlers in the world? Is it his freakishly long 84-inch reach? Is it his genetics and fighting style? Or is it the perfect blend of all three of these and more that makes him so famous and well known? Before we answer all these questions, please do not forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell icon, as it makes sure that you never miss another update from us. Jon Jones's childhood and wrestling beginnings. On July 19th, 1987, in Rochester, New York, a legend was born named Jon Jones. Jones was brought up in a very strict and disciplined environment with his parents, Arthur and Camille Jones, who made sure that Jones knew the values of hard work and perseverance from a very young age. Jones's father was a pastor and his mother was a homemaker. And due to this, and being one of 4 siblings, he and his entire family were highly religious and determined for success. In Jones's family, athleticism was really appreciated, especially in football, and that is why Jones's elder brother, Arthur Jones, and younger brother, Chandler Jones, both went on to play in the NFL. Although the talent for football ran in his family, Jones found his true calling in wrestling. As a young teenager, Jones used to attend the Union Endicott High School in upstate New York and was naturally drawn towards the art of combat sports. With the help of his long limbs and immense natural strength, he easily excelled in wrestling against his fellow wrestlers. After watching him fight, his coaches soon realized that Jones had the rare and special blend of agility, explosiveness, and intelligence that made him completely stand out on the map. After devoting most of his time to training and working, Jon's wrestling career truly took off after he won the state championship in New York. Not only was this win essential for him to show the world that he had what it took to be the best, but it was also a small glimpse of his potential in the future of wrestling. Due to his competitive nature and his keen ability to read his opponents and predict their movements, he soon became a dominant force, although he was still just a young wrestler. College was no different for Jon. After he passed out from his high school, he continued to train and wrestle at Iowa Central Community College, where he became quite famous after he won and became the junior college national champion in 2006. The amount of success he already had gotten by this time showcased his possible potential towards wrestling, but although he was getting better and better at wrestling, he felt undeniably drawn towards mixed martial arts, MMA, which offered him the chance to get better at wrestling and mix his skills and combine them with the art of submission to become stronger than ever before. Soon after, he knew MMA was definitely going to be his future. He made the risky move of leaving college and pursuing MMA full-time. As he joined the sport, it was clear that his previous experience was helping him immensely, as he could easily tackle and take down his opponents with barely any effort at all. Unlike many wrestlers who take time to transition from other sports to MMA, Jon was quick to adapt. In fact, his long reach was one of his biggest advantages in the ring, as he could easily develop a new fighting style that allowed him to perform grappling exchanges with just his brute force. By the year 2008, at just the age of 21, Jon made his debut in UFC, and of course, the rest is history. His training and discipline towards the sport created the foundation for him to become such a heavy hitter, and probably one of the greatest MMA fighters to ever enter the octagon. Jon Jones and his unique fighting style, which made him almost unreachable. When it comes to elite wrestling, unorthodox striking, high fight IQ, and incredible adaptability, Jon Jones has mastered all of them and has managed to blend them into one skillful technique, and these make him one of the most dominant fighters in MMA history. Due to his long and extensive history with just wrestling, he can easily dictate where the fight is going to take place. He can then almost effortlessly take down his opponents and pin them to the ground. But there is one thing to keep in mind. Unlike many wrestlers who rely solely on the grappling technique, Jones prefers to use his own customized attack arsenal, which is just as deadly as it is effective. As we previously mentioned, his reach, which is about 84 inches long, allows him to easily keep his opponents at bay as he can reach them before they can reach him. He also uses his jabs, spinning kicks and elbow hits to make sure the opponent stays down. Fun fact, Jon Jones has the longest reach in UFC history, making him one of the most feared fighters in the ring. Jon Jones clearly has a creative mind, and he uses his creativity to strike at his opponents with moves such as oblique kicks to the knee, side kicks to the body, and spinning back elbows, which often are effective at catching his opponents off guard. Another special weapon of his is his clinch work, where he abuses his height and leverage to bestow heavy knee kicks and elbow slams on his opponents. You may be thinking that this is it. His whole arsenal is huge and just filled with offensive moves, but you would be wrong. Defensively, Jones knows that he is quite hard to hit due to his reach, height, and his ability to roll with his punches. But what truly sets him apart is his fighting IQ and his ability to adapt to the technique of his opponent mid-fight. He makes sure to study his opponent from top to bottom, analyzing even the slightest movements they make, and then, once he realizes their weak points, he exploits them heavily by targeting those areas with surgical precision. When it comes to absolutely ruling a fight, outstriking strikers, or even making submitter grapplers submit, Jon Jones can do it all. All of these abilities together make him an unstoppable force to reckon with, one which even Khabib would be cautious to face off against in the octagon. Jon Jones's training regimen, the making of a champion who couldn't be touched. So far, we have talked a lot about how Jon Jones went from a young kid learning how to fight to an absolute beast in the ring. But of course, he did not just wake up and learn to fight, nor was his genetics enough to help him fight off against other trained fighters. Of course not. The real reason he is who he is today is because of his highly disciplined life and training regime, which he religiously follows to date. So let us look into his training regime to understand him even better. Jon Jones's training regime is a meticulously crafted, perfect blend of strength, conditioning, striking, grappling, wrestling, and mental preparation, which enables him to stay at the top of the game at all times. His training routine consists of a lot of complicated and simple workouts together, such as Olympic lifts, deadlifts, squats, battle ropes, and plyometric exercises. All of these exercises give him an almost extraordinary amount of endurance and explosive power, which tagged along with his physique can be deadly if used properly. He also incorporates other exercises such as high-intensity interval training, swimming, and long-distance running to maintain an elite level of cardio for 5-round fights. Phew, just reading this out was tiring, but wait, there is more. During his striking training, Jon Jones focuses heavily on fighting techniques such as Muay Thai, boxing, and kickboxing, all of which are to help him refine his unique fighting style that is made up of spinning elbows, oblique kicks, and long-range attacks. But just training is not all. To keep up with others, you need to fight others. And so during his sparring sessions, he emphasizes heavily reading his opponents so that he stays unpredictable to his opponents. He practices distance control, head movements, and counters. Although Jon is already a well-renowned MMA fighter and striker, wrestling is still a big part of his life. In fact, he still often wrestles other wrestlers to sharpen his takedowns, top control, and defensive techniques. To add on to this, there is one more crucial part of his life and training regime that not too many people know about, and that is his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu (BJJ) training that ensures he trains submissions such as guillotine chokes and rear naked chokes to perfection. These moves are the very moves that allowed him to take down high-level elite players. A fighter's body is just as powerful as his mind, and who knows this better than Jon Jones? He heavily prioritizes mental health alongside studying his opponents in his free time. Call it a hobby. And last but not least comes his recovery. In fact, the recovery may be the most important part of his training regime altogether. He usually only does 3 very important things to make sure his body stays in peak performance, and those are ice baths, massages, and yoga. These are all the things that helped him carve out such a great body and an unbreakable mind. Jon Jones's unique moves, the weapons of an MMA genius. When a fighter fights, He or she knows that they cannot win the move just by spamming one move like Contra, and so they make sure to have adequate attacks and defenses in case things go southwards, and Jon is no different. By mixing wrestling, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, and many other combat sports together, Jon Jones has built up an arsenal that fits his fighting style the best, and we are going to be talking about the moves he relies on the most out of all of them. Spinning elbows, signature move. One of Jon Jones's signature moves is his spinning elbows attack, which he has practiced oh so many times that he can perform them with pinpoint precision and almost perfect timing. Unlike other fighters who use the spinning moves sparingly, Jon Jones uses the same move in close range, which often takes the opponent by surprise in clinch situations. And who would know about this attack better than Stephan Bonnar? During UFC 94, Jon used this against Bonnar and stunned Bonnar, a feat which was deemed unachievable, and showcased his mastery over the skill and his creativity. This move is beneficial, especially for him, due to his long reach and deceptive speed, which often makes it highly unpredictable. Oblique kicks, side kicks to the knee. Jon Jones is one of the few fighters who consistently uses side oblique kicks, a technique which he uses to attack the side of an opponent's knee or thigh. This move is highly deadly, but also risky, as it can hyperextend the knee and cause long-term damage to the leg. However, due to years of using it over and over again, he has made it a fine part of his strategy, and he uses this attack for multiple reasons, such as controlling the distance between him and his opponent, slows down aggressive opponents, and prevent takedown attempts. Famous and well-adept fighters like Rampage Jackson and Daniel Cormier have often struggled against this move, as it never really allowed them to go forward with their attacks and made them hesitate a lot. Long-range eye pokes and frame control. Although you might know that eye poking is a highly illegal move in almost any fighting-based scenario, but Jon Jones does not use the eye poking move in the traditional sense. He often extends his fingers out just enough to block off his opponent's vision before he lands his own attack, bewildering them. Although this move has been highly controversial, he has used it to his advantage in a very smart way. Clinch elbows and dirty boxing. When it comes to a clinch, Jones is almost lethal. He often uses his short-range elbows and dirty boxing techniques to hurt his opponents. Unlike other clinch wrestlers who use their legs and knees, Jon uses his arms due to their extensive reach to land jaw-breaking elbows to the temple, jaw, and forehead. This attack is fairly lethal, and Rashad Evans would tell you the same, as in one fight against Evans, Jon used the same move over and over again, which absolutely wore Evans down. Jon's ability to swiftly overpower his opponents like this makes him almost unbeatable in clinch fights. Takedowns and trips. Takedowns and trips are when Jon's previous wrestling background truly shows and shines. Although he is an elite striker, he can execute beautifully timed takedowns, trips, and throws unlike no other. But he knows that he cannot be seen using the same moves over and over again, and so he often uses Greco-Roman style trips and throws to throw his opponents in a clinch, which he always has an advantage in. A beautiful example of this move is during his fight against Daniel Cormier, an Olympic-level wrestler, where Jon Jones managed to out-wrestle the wrestler himself and managed to land multiple takedowns against him. His ability to just adapt and overcome every situation is quite scary, not gonna lie. Guillotine choke. The guillotine choke is a deadly weapon in Jon Jones's arsenal, which he has used to end multiple high-level fighters such as Lyoto Machida and Cyril Gane. His long and muscularly lean arms help him wrap them around his opponent's neck with almost no effort, and after applying immense pressure on the wrap, it is almost a given that the opponent will either force submission or risk taking brain damage. What makes this move even deadlier is his standing guillotine choke, in which he can choke out his opponent even before their unconscious body can hit the ground. Ground and pound with elbows. Jon Jones's ground and pound move is one of the most vicious moves in all of MMA. Instead of just relying on his already deadly punches to knock out his opponents, he uses his elbows to deliver sharp blows from the top position. This move is so brutal that it has often cut his opponents open and has caused massive damage to them in general. Brandon Vera was unfortunate enough to face Jon Jones and was hit by this move. Not only did it massively hurt Vera, but this move broke Vera's orbital bone with just a single downward elbow hit. Not only can he generate enough power to damage his opponents easily if it were applied on an average human, but they would also probably be hospitalized or may even end up in the casket. After reviewing all of these moves in Jon Jones's arsenal, I, personally, would never even dream of going up against him. Honestly, lock me in a cage with Khabib and he might just let me go home with a few broken bones. But Jon Jones? Oh hell no. Marvelous verdict. And after a long and brutally informative journey, guys, here you have it. The absolute mind-blowing breakdown of Jon Jones's entire anatomy, where we talked about everything, starting from his childhood to even his special attacks. All of the training and hard work has definitely paid off for Jon Jones, as he is currently world's most famous and talked about wrestler, second to Conor and Khabib, which is honestly a huge accomplishment. So far, you have heard us talk about how each and every move of his was more than just lethal, but now we want to know from you. Which move in Jon's arsenal do you think is the best? Is it his guillotine choke, his specialized takedowns, or maybe even his controversial eye-poking attacks? Let us know in the comments and we will be replying to the best comments for sure. If you enjoyed the video on Jon Jones's anatomy exploration, please smash the like button as it helps us a lot. We have got plenty more content on our channels where we have discussed the anatomies of fighters such as Conor McGregor and Khabib, so make sure to check them out as well. Please do not forget to click the subscribe button and ring the bell icon if you love videos talking about combat sports in general, and we promise to not disappoint.